जय भारत। वेलकम टू डेफ टॉक्स क्लिप्स बाय आदि अचिंत। जैसे ही आपने मेरे बड़े चैनल जो डेफ टॉक्स बाय आदि है उसको आपने जिस तरह से सपोर्ट करा, उसी तरह से ये हमारे क्लिप्स के चैनल को, जहां पर आपको छोटे छोटे अपडेट्स, छोटे छोटे शॉर्ट्स और छोटी छोटी कहानियां मिलेंगी, इसी को भी सपोर्ट जरूर कीजिएगा। लाइक का बटन जरूर दबाइए, सब्सक्राइब तो ऑब्वियसली करिए, बेल आइकॉन दबाना बिल्कुल मत भूलिएगा। एंड हाँ जी, प्लीज अपने दोस्तों के साथ, फैमिलीज के साथ ये वीडियोस जरूर शेयर करिएगा। एंजॉय करिए ये क्लिप को। जय हिंद। Jai Hind and welcome to Dev Talks. This is Adi Achint. We are here to discuss Xi Jinping and his PLA. There's a lot of talk which is happening about Xi Jinping's coup. Hu Jintao को हटा के साइड में कर दिया उसने. Now there is a lot of discussions which are happening. क्या हुआ वहां पर, कैसे हुआ, what is the implication, कहाँ शी जिनपिंग कैसे कंट्रोल करेगा, इकोनॉमी कैसे चलेगी, काफी सारी चीजों के ऊपर we are talking about. A lot of people are doing discussions on it. The topic of this discussion with Major General Rajiv Narayanan is going to be about the PLA. How is it that Xi Jinping is going to manage the PLA? If you read his statement, he's put in a lot of focus towards the military. There has to be a reason why. क्या है इसकी पीछे की कहानी? And can the Chinese actually do it? That is something which is very, very important for us to know, because they can keep printing out statements. This is our this thing, this is our that thing, but capability hai ki nahi hai? There's something that we will try and understand today. Sir, thank you so much. It's a big subject, of course. I know you've been, burning the late night hours trying to find out who's going where and what is happening. So, eager to hear your insights, sir. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you, Adi. Always a pleasure to be on your platform. Yes, if the neighborhood feels threatened, we need to understand where is this PLA going, headed to. And I feel it's going to be a tough ask for him. I don't think he has drawn the correct lessons from Ukraine. Just look at what happens when an autocratic strongman who doesn't take no for an answer launches an attack. What happens? He has also been changing his commanders exactly like she has been changing in the last 2 years since the Galwan incident. 4 commanders have been changed. One, chalo, I can understand his time was up and he was leaving the first one, but 3, and one of them was just here for 2 months. It is a telling thing, but the indicators had started coming that, as you rightly put, that this is becoming like she's private army, and I call it the coup that never was. In my talks with one or two journalists, I had questioned the likelihood of a coup when he had gone to SCO and he was coming back. And they were talk of it a huge convoy moving towards Beijing. Some aircrafts had been stopped and a lot of flights had got cancelled, and him missing from the public eye for a period of time. So there were two things I had mentioned. Okay, I said possibility is there. But there were two things to remember. He himself had given a policy that anyone going out has to come back and stay in quarantine for 5 months, 5 days. So I had recommended at that time that don't take too much of him missing out of public eye and media eye, because he may be in quarantine. He himself has laid that policy, so he would have gone in. Number two, what proof have you got that the army is not coming for his support? Okay. One of his talks, General Shankar had also pointed out, and I would point out, how Hu Jintao, who was so strangely evicted from the stage, had countered the protests against the 2008 Olympics being held, and especially people supporting Free Tibet and Free Xinjiang and all that. He just told them, come to a stadium And rather than go all over the countryside, come to the stadium, a venue, and you can do that there. They came there and he arrested all of them. So I had flagged that this could be his way of getting all his opponents out into the open together to sort them out. Because you would know that prior to that, there were a lot of anti sheep policy write ups which were coming up, and there was a lot of
Hmm.
angst amongst the party elders. So he was not that worried about the elders. He wanted to know who else, and I'm sure he has sorted all them out. And the manner in which he has gone about placing people in the Politburo Standing Committee, the Politburo itself, and the Central Committee, there's not a single person who's not in his clique. Zero. In the previous instant, there were certain Communist Youth League people and some of Jiang Zemin who had shifted to him and who were there. Now there's nobody.
कोई नहीं है हाँ correct sir.
There's just nobody. Period. Everybody is his, whether it be the CMC in the PLA, whether it be the Politburo Standing Committee, Politburo, and the Central Committee. There's nobody. He has been brutal. No faction is going to be permitted to be there. There were two people I remember during the 18th and the 19th Congress being spoken about. One was Sung Kai, and the other was Hun Chunwa. Okay, Sun
Mhm.
Kai, just before the 19th Congress, he and the person whom he had placed as the chairman, chief of Joint Staff Department, General Fang Fanghe, out in a jiffy. What are the charges? Kept changing, kept everything. They are in jail. He was supposed to be his successor in 2022. And Hun Chunwa, who is the protege of Li Keqiang and also Hu Jintao, was supposed to take over as in place of Li Keqiang as the premier now. And I was a bit surprised because Hun Chunwa then owed allegiance to Xi Jinping, and he was following his path when he was placed in Inner Mongolia of ensuring a balance, that common prosperity which is now being talked about by Xi Jinping, that excessive mining and other things had made some people very rich and others poor, and he brought in a balance. So one felt that maybe he would have continued with him. He's out. He was in the Politburo. He's not even in the standing committee, not even in the central committee. Out. And he's packed his CMC with people whom he wants.
Loyalists हाँ जी.
Yeah, absolute loyalists. He has just not bothered about the 7 up, 8 down policy that they had. And the classic case is General Zhang Yujia, whom they consider each other as blood brothers. Their fathers have served together. When Xi Jinping's dad was the in commanding a division and an army, this chap has been his political commissar. This chap's father was the political commissar. Both, if I remember correctly, both were purged together. They both were in Fujian, where they have served together, and he has looked after him, though he is elder to him,
अच्छा.
3 years elder to
Hmm.
him.
Hmm. Hmm.
Right? He's 72. He's been given another term. He should have not got a term ideally. So he's been given another term. He's been retained. And now he has brought He Wei Dong, who people feel that he was his protege, who did only 2 months as the Western Theatre Commander. And he moved him as the Chief of Joint Staff Department. And now suddenly he is moved here as the Vice Chairman of the CMC. What does he know? He has been the Deputy Commander and then the Commander of the Western Theatre Ground Force. Okay. Then he was moved as Commander Eastern Theatre. And
Hmm.
now he is coming in as the uh,
Big boy, absolutely.
big boy. He he's not served in any group army. Okay. Now you take Li Shangfei, who's the new member who has come in. Out of the previous one, he has retained three. The three people are his blood brother, Zhang Yujia, the CMC Political Works Department, who's been the political commissar of plan earlier, Miao Hua, Admiral, and the Anti-Corruption Department of CMC, General Zhang Zemin. He has retained him. He has also been brought in there. Not only the three new faces are He Wei-dong, whom he has brought in suddenly as the vice chairman. Normal norm has always been that you're first made a member to understand how the CMC functions. And then from there, the two senior most, they go in as the vice chairman. So all that is booted out. No experience, parachuted in as straight as vice chairman. And you have General Li Shangfu, who is a PLA strategic support force. He is not the commander. So operationally, he'll know nothing about it. He's an aerospace engineer and has been their head of the equipment development department. So obviously for space. Now you
Hmm.
place him as a member here in CMC. Then you have Liu Zhengli. Okay. Who is he? He is he's commanded, he's been a chief of staff of a group army. From there, he was shifted as chief of staff of the provincial armed police. Very interesting character. From there, chief of staff of the PLA ground force. From there, he is shifted as the commander of the PLA ground force, and now he's been brought as a member. Last time, when he had made, none of the service chiefs were members. This time, he has brought the PLA exists serving PLA ground force commander as a member of the
Yeah.
CMC. Prior to that, you always had all these people who were the service chiefs and the group army commanders as member of the CMC. Okay, all
Automatically.
automatically used to be
Acha.
members of the CMC. He broke with that. Last time there were no service chiefs who were members, and now he has brought a ground force. Very indicative. Most of the people in the CMC are ground forces. All his theater commanders, except Northern Theater Commander, are all ground force commanders, which is a very clear indicator.
जय हिंद। जाने से पहले मैं 1 मिनट के लिए आपको रोक लूं, तो प्लीज ये चैनल को लाइक जरूर करिएगा, सब्सक्राइब करिएगा, और हाँ, हमारे जो मेन चैनल को जरूर जरूर अपनी फॉलोशिप दीजिए, ताकि हम आपको अच्छे अच्छे पॉडकास्ट, इंपॉर्टेंट सब्जेक्ट्स एंड जियोपॉलिटिकल अपडेट से आपके सामने प्रेजेंट करते रहें इसी तरह से। थैंक यू सो मच। जय हिंद, जय भारत।